So you want to get the right price for your commercial property, but you want to make sure that you're closing with the right buyer. So how do you know if they're the right buyer? You don't, not until you're closing with them. So what do? You need to keep buyers fresh all the way through the sale process. So I'll tell you a quick story. Recently we sold a building. We put it on the market. We had a lot of activity on it. Responses were strong, and within a few weeks we had our first offer. Offer was from a buyer. He owned 4 or 5 other properties, portfolio owner, qualified, said he'd been by the building, knew it, wanted to buy it, made an offer, renegotiated, great deal. Put it under agreement. 3 weeks later, we're in the purchase and sale review period, and he calls up and says, I've got a problem. I said, what's that? He said, the building has 2 floors. I said, yeah, well, if you've been by the building, you know it has 2 floors. If you read the package, you know it has 2 floors. He said, I'm really embarrassed, but I didn't actually read the package and see that it had 2 floors. So I'm not buying it. I said, okay, no problem. So we went back out. Within about a week, we had our next buyer, buyer number 2. Buyer number 2 came in and they said, we're ready to go. We negotiated, locked up the deal, went to purchase and sale, started the due diligence period. A week before the due diligence was up, the buyer decided that they didn't like the tenant, the nature of the tenant's business. Now, nothing had changed. The tenant did the same thing. So what he did was he backed out of the deal. And at that point, my client called and said, I'm really frustrated. I don't know what's going to happen. I said, just hang tough. Give us a few weeks. We'll work it out. Within 10 days, we were back under agreement. We brought in 3 more offers. And the 3rd offer was the right buyer. The right buyer came in. He was experienced. He closed. And he did a speedy due diligence and paid a cash price. So the lesson is, the first buyer may not always be the right buyer. The second buyer may not always be the right buyer. The 3rd buyer, in this case, was. But it's important to keep interest fresh while you're selling your building, because you never know until you get to the closing table if the right buyer is paying you the right price and they're actually going to close.